The time is 7:03 PM. I'd like to call to order this April 16th special meeting of the Mayor and Town Council. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Susan, can I do a roll call?
Councilor Draco.
Here.
Councilor Gonzalez.
Here.
Councilor Mankey.
Here.
Councilor Nagel.
Here. Here.
Councilor Ford.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Rada.
Here.
Councilor Diakos.
Here.
Mayor Fisher.
Here. All right, we'll on to approval of the agenda. Any changes? Entertain a motion to approve.
Second.
By Deputy Mayor Rada, seconded by Councilor Mankey. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to number 4, awards and proclamations. Unfortunately, Police Superintendent Tom Davern was unable to be here tonight, and we obviously want to celebrate him when he can be here. So I would actually entertain a motion to table this and leave it on the agenda for a later date when he can be here.
So moved.
Second.
All right, motion by Councilor Page, seconded by Deputy Mayor Rada. Any discussion on tabling this? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, moving right along to public participation on agenda items only. If there's anybody in the room that would like to participate in public participation, please feel free to come up, or in Zoom, use the raise hand function on your keyboard. All right, we do have one on Zoom. All right, go right ahead, Ms. Lyons.
Progress. Sorry.
Hi, Rose Lyons, 46 Elton Drive. I just wanted to say thank you to all of you for the work that you've put in with this budget. And a special thanks to Jamie for this year, and a special thanks to James for last year for stepping up and helping out with the budget. It's not an easy task, as you all know, but hopefully next year we'll have a permanent town manager appointed and things will be a little bit smoother. I thank you for the time in between to look at the changes that were made. I didn't see them on the website. They may have been there, but I'm not too good with our town website. But in any case, thank you for the work you've done, and have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Lyons. Anybody else in the room or over Zoom that would like to participate in public participation? Seeing none, we will move along to remarks by councilors on public participation. Anybody have any comments or remarks? Oh, Councilor Mankey.
I just agree with Ms. Lyons. Budgets aren't easy and they're hard work, and I think we're all 9 of us here will be happy when we're done tonight so we can get on to other business for the rest of the year. Agreed.
Agreed. All right, moving along then to consideration of old business. I understand there are going to be some changes proposed, so I will ask that we take a recess so that we can caucus with our various groups and get ready to present some changes. Entertain a motion to go into recess.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
That
All right, we are in recess.
was quick.
All right,
Stack to it,
we are back from recess and going to continue our budget discussions. We understand there's a few changes going to be proposed. Councilman Nate, you want to start?
Certainly. Just one, before we start, I just make a quick comment, I think.
Certainly.
As I said, budgets aren't always easy, and it was amazing how we, both caucuses met separate. And we actually, our caucus had some of the same changes you guys had made last meeting. Specifically, we're going to cut the wages for the assistant town manager. We both agreed on that. And we were also looking at moving buses and HVAC to help fund the Board of Ed. We increased interest income. We both agreed to that, and independently. So it just shows that 9 great minds think alike sometimes. And I think that's important that we remember that. We have actually four changes we'd like to propose tonight. The first one is in account 10232. And then 8310 other materials, we'd like to cut 3,000. And if I just mind, I know we have to take these in individual order and vote on them individually, but we'd also like to move that money then to code 106448217, senior center Meals on Wheels. And Councilor Draco will speak to this one.
Ken, it's not a large amount, but we just want to explain that for the 3,000 from the other materials, in the explanation under major budget changes and commentary, the explanation was other materials reflects additional costs of awards night dinner and the addition of a summer picnic. And when we questioned Ms. Murphy about the expenses under that line item, she indicated that $2,000 was for food, which has been supported, and $10,000 was for an awards night, which has historically been supported, and these were existing items. But there was a new item, $3,000 for a new event, proposed event, a summer picnic. Now, there's no question at all that the fire department deserves our support, most certainly, in terms of funding operations, equipment, safety measures, training, whatever. And most certainly, they also deserve our appreciation for the services which they provide. So beyond just the material and the safety and the training, a little bit of fun and give back from the town. But that has historically been reflected, and as well as in this budget, in the town funding, the $2,000 for the food, the $10,000 for an awards banquet, and also another separate line item. We annually make the town a $5,000 contribution to the Veterans Volunteer Fire Department Association. So this year, as other departments were getting asked to cut operations, and more importantly, as we recently, and still is a threat, the Meals on Wheels and the congregate meals program were threatened and are still at risk beyond September 1st. That's basically putting elderly, disabled, and those experiencing food insecurity at risk for losing meals. We felt that, and also the needs of the Human Services Department in this town, we felt that this year, it was just a statement that $3,000, instead of funding a picnic, could be better utilized towards programs that help those that might not have a meal at all.
Second my motion, I believe.
Yeah, so you made a
So I
motion.
made the motion. It's a 2-part motion, but obviously the first part is the first.
So Councilor Menke with the motion, Gail with the second.
Second.
Discussion. Councilor Page.
Thank you, Mayor. Could we hear from either Jamie or Janet or both about the Meals on Wheels and where do we stand with that? Given that you've sort of packaged this, my impression was, given the actions we've taken recently, with I think the 75,000, we were in pretty good shape, and other fundraising, which thank goodness, based on the generosity of the folks in Newington, it's monies are coming in and have been coming in. Thank you. But where do we stand?
I don't have any additional information other than what I shared at last Tuesday's meeting, in which I'm still investigating how far the allocated funding from the state, the new allocated funding from the state, will go towards funding the program for the rest of the CRT fiscal year, which is through the end of September 30th, but we don't have an answer on that yet.
I will say, when I read the reminder this past Thursday, because they were talking about Cromwell too, it was Cromwell, Newington, Rocky Hill. What they were saying, and I don't know this is right, because I know they didn't give you an answer, is it's good through the end of July.
July 1st.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, into July.
That's correct.
So that
That's-
still puts it, I don't know if that's true or not.
That's what I suspected. We have not received a confirmation from CRT. I think Rocky Hill and Weathersfield use a different provider, but same funding. So it's, yeah, it's entirely.
Was the 75,000 that we approved in the prior meeting, if the state or the feds don't come through with anything more, if we take the 75 and combine it with the generosity of the town, to what extent do we project we can cover congregate as well as the special dietary meals, and for how long? Do we have a sense of that?
The request that I made of the council a couple meetings back was based on a per meal cost calculation. Did we have to provide the meals, on our own? And that calculation came to $95,000. That would be the amount we need to fund the program fully.
So between the 75,000 we previously allocated and I believe the 20 or 21,000 needed from the community, we would be covered through the rest of the calendar year or the fiscal year?
Through October 1st, CRT
October
fiscal year.
And then what happens?
I don't know. We would propose the budget, we don't have any control over CRT's operating budget. We would hope that they would be able to, achieve the funding to continue the program, but we don't know. I don't have any information on that yet. No, nobody does.
Because I would be just one person here. I would be open to talking about that 3,000 more, but I have concerns about the 3,000 reduction. And we've had these conversations that our firefighters obviously do so much for us. And if we were to have a professional firefighting crew come into this town, it would be millions and millions of dollars that it would cost our residents. And I respect and appreciate, Gail, Councilor Draco, yours and others' position on this. I feel like maybe we can do both. We're looking at other, and you're going to come up with other cuts here, and we've got some ideas, but maybe we can find a way to do that tonight with other cuts and not have to cut that first line. But that's just my thought. Let's keep talking about this.
Counselor Menke.
Yeah, certainly, it's a couple points. My admiration for the fire department is unequaled. This is a new initiative. It's a picnic. I get it. But I don't think we all agree at this table that the Meals on Wheels and the congregate meals and the seniors is on shaky ground. And we hope to get $20,000 from the town. But I think as somebody spoke a couple meetings ago, these things kind of becomes the cause celeb, and then that's good for the first year. But what about next year, or what about after October 31st? Then what happens? This seems like something we aren't cutting the awards banquet for the fire department. We aren't cutting any of the other things. This is something they hadn't had before, and we think this is a one we can at least make a donation to, or make that $20,000 donation needed down to $17,000. But certainly you guys can vote as you wish, but that's our thinking.
Thank you. Councilor Floyd.
Thank you, Mayor. Just as far as the Meals on Wheels portion of this goes, I think we certainly want to make sure that we have all the resources necessary to patch the holes that CRT has created, frankly. So can I just understand a little bit more, Jamie? So the 75 that we appropriated plus the 20 anticipated in donations, you had mentioned, I know a little bit about how the department was prepared to some extent, or if not prepared, was going to eat the costs of those specialized meals through Meals on Wheels. Was that 75 and the 20, is the intention that all of that go towards congregate meals, or both congregate and Meals on Wheels?
Both.
Both.
So I don't have the exact breakdown in front of me, that the Meals on Wheels are significantly more expensive than the congregate because of just the number we serve, about 207 per week, that would have been cut, that, based on the budget shortfall. So I don't remember. I think it was something along the lines of 58,000 for Meals on Wheels and the remainder for congregate, but I have to look up those numbers. But the funding, the $75,000 in ARPA funding that the council allocated, and then the anticipated $20,000 in donations were intended to cover both Meals on Wheels and congregate through the end of their fiscal year.
Thank you for that. And as far as our donations go, do you have a number at this time about where we are on that target?
I would need to contact Barbara Wilmer or get info from Barbara Wilmer. She has numerous community groups who are helping, and even a private resident who bought lunch for everybody last week. So I know that she's doing it by days, like she'll have certain days covered, and we have like one nursing home that's committed to doing 1 day per month, but unfortunately I don't have that total right in front of me right now.
Okay. I'd just say, as far as the meals go, I think, again, we all want to make sure that they have all the resources they need. I'd be even, for my part, in favor at looking at even more that we could do, and where we could find that in the budget. I think that's acceptable, but I certainly want to make sure that they have everything that they need. And if we're lagging in donation for whatever reason, I'd certainly, I think, want to discuss that. So, thank you.
Councilor Gonzalez.
I just want to make sure that I'm hearing all of this correctly. You have what you need between the 75 and the 20 that's coming to carry you till October. Is that correct?
We have the 75, but I'm not sure where we are on the 20.
You
I
mean
know
if
that
it's-
people have been very generous and we appreciate that, but I don't have a specific number of where we are on the 20 right now. I know Barbara's still working on soliciting donations as we speak.
Didn't the state grant the money back, some money back?
We believe the state granted $500,000. That's the.
To everyone, not just.
To everyone.
Right.
That's the most recent information I have. What the information that is not clear from CRT is how long that funding will last, and if there's additional funding coming down the pipeline, and how long that would last. So we have some, and we're pleased with that, but we don't have any assurances that we're good through the end of the fiscal year from CRT funding.
Okay. And would this $3,000 make a difference? And I mean,
I don't want to make a policy, answer on that, but I would think that any amount
So
is helpful. Yeah.
so my thought is that if you have some other discussions further on that you're suggesting cuts from, maybe we can look at that. That was just a thought. Instead of taking away and putting somewhere, if we're taking away from something else, it's there and can be put. So that's my thought.
Thank you, Councilor Gonzalez. Deputy Mayor Rada.
Yes, a couple of items that I want to address, and I think other people have said them in a variety of ways. First of all, we have a complete volunteer fire department, excellently trained, coming to the needs of our residents here in town and other towns I've heard about recently. And I also understand how important Meals on Wheels is, both the congregate meals and the home delivered meals. My mother was a recipient years ago for a point in time for Meals on Wheels. I'm not saying that $3,000 is inconsequential, but I also agree with, for example, Councilor Gonzalez, that if we are looking to decrease the budget line items in other ways, that we could possibly take some of that money and make a more substantial shift and donation to the senior center for the congregate meals and for the Meals on Wheels, the home delivered meals, without having to deduct from the fire department budget.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Rada. Counselor Page.
Thanks, Mayor. I know I went already once, so I'll make it quick. Counselor Nagel, so you can go next. We have a brand new mayor. Well, I don't know about brand new now, but 6 months into it, new mayor. We have a new fire chief. I don't know, how long have you been in chief? 4 years as chief. Right, for 4 years. So we've got a lot of good things happening in the fire department. We have one of the largest, I think, recruiting classes and young people coming into the fire department, as Councilor Rada said. I know there have been a lot of vital changes, important changes under your leadership. And that's evident. And we've heard a lot of good things about that. And I'd like for us to continue to build on that, and through new leadership here and some of the older leadership here, to work with you all to continue to move those positive, healthy changes forward to arguably the finest firefighting force in the area. So I'd like to continue to support that. And as we go through these other cuts, agree with Councilor Rada, we can find money maybe to even do more than the 3,000 for Meals on Wheels. So thanks.
Thank you, Counselor Page. Counselor Nagel.
Yes, I agree with all that's been said about the wonderful fire department that we have and all that they do. But I also agree with what Councilor Pedreco mentioned or stated about needs for those who may go without food at all, and there is no definite amount of money that's going to be provided by the state or not by the state. It's in question. We would like an answer. And I think that indeed a picnic is not something that would necessarily prevent people from doing the job that they're dedicated to in the volunteer fire department from continuing to do that, knowing that those monies are going to a just cause where people may not be able to eat. So as it stands, that's been presented, and I'm open to other information that may be coming that I'm not privy to, that I would support this measure, both of them at the moment.
Thank you, Counselor Nagel. Counselor Menke.
Just to clarify, we are still supporting the fire department's dinner, a volunteer dinner to the tune of, I think, $10,000. This picnic is a new initiative. It hadn't happened before, so it's a new initiative. The $3,000 to Human Services, not Human Services, to Meals on Wheels is frankly just a drop in the bucket. It just helps reduce that money that we need to collect from the generosity of our neighbors. And all that said, the ARPA money, this money, and the generosity of our neighbors gets us to October 1st, October 31st, November 1st. It still is half of a year in 2025 with no funding. I think this is certainly more of a statement than it is anything else, but I think it's important. So it's a way that we can call the public's attention. This is a crisis, and we aren't. It's not a slight to the fire department. It's a get a picnic at the end of the year or the middle of summer, but you still get the other dinner. So.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Pedreco.
Yeah, just to echo what Counselor Menke said, we're not cutting anything that is currently existing. And in fact, we definitely, even though this line item supported an increase in the cost for the awards dinner, we support that. I mean, that's an important event. We've all been, we loved it. It's just that this particular, unfortunately, it's a question of timing too. This year, maybe last year or the year before or whatever, it wouldn't have been an issue. But this year, when we were just hit with people possibly going without a meal, and there's no guarantee on that after, September, October 1st, $3,000 for a picnic, which is well-deserved, I get it. But on the heels of having to scramble to get money so that people can really have a meal, it just didn't, the timing was really not appropriate, and we just felt that maybe the picnic could be delayed a year or so. I'll vote on that.
Thank you, Counselor Pedreco. I think, we're really talking about two different things here. And I think, we're all kind of similar minds in those things. to an extent. Personally, I'm not in favor of the cut to the police, to the fire department. I recognize that we're making administrative cuts elsewhere, but I'm reminded, as Counselor Page reminded also, that this is a volunteer force and it's a great volunteer force. And in order to continue to get volunteers, a picnic might be necessary for that. And I think, the cost of the town, if it were a paid force, would be considerably higher. So I think, for this particular item, I'm not in favor of. Now, in terms of the Meals on Wheels, I'm totally in favor of that, but I would actually think, we should talk about giving more. I'd be in favor of even bumping that up based on some of the cuts that we've already proposed and we're proposing tonight. We could make that 20,000 and pick up the gap for the additional, on top of the additional 75. I'd be in favor of talking about doing that. But in terms of the cut to the first item, I'm not in favor of. So we're doing one.
Matt, you have-
Oh, so I'm sorry.
When you're done.
I'm sorry. No, you're good.
I don't know if this is out of order, this is my first time doing this, but
Go right ahead.
if, just because Counselor Tiniakos is online, and I think we've been having some discussions here, is there any way we could go into recess to fill him in on an option or two, just with regards to Meals on Wheels?
Well, he's here. He's here in the room. He's on public.
I know, we've been talking back and forth right here a little bit.
I can hear you.
Yeah, you can hear us. I didn't see a certain conversation. I think at this point, we should call the question. We vote.
Yeah, let's take the vote on the first item and then we'll talk about the second item. So we had a motion by Counselor Mankey, seconded by Counselor Bedrejko on the first item. Can we please have a roll call vote on that?
Yes, Counselor Bedrejko,
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez,
No.
Counselor Mankey,
Yes.
Counselor Nagel,
Yes.
Counselor Page,
No.
Counselor Plord,
No.
Deputy Mayor Rada,
No,
Counselor Tiniakos,
He's frozen. Counselor Tiniakis?
He is frozen.
He's blinking.
he's
He moves back.
Counselor Tiniakos,
What?
No.
Thank you.
Mayor Trista.
You
No.
just go, yes, sir.
No. The motion fails 3-6.
Did you still have your hand up, Council?
Nope, my mistake, sorry.
All right.
My internet bad? No.
You're weaving in and out, but we got your drift.
Maybe shut your video off, it might help.
But we like looking at him.
He's got more hair,
Where is he?
he's more handsome than I am, that's for sure. It's not hard to do. You good?
Yeah, good. Yeah, if you're good.
Then we withdraw the second motion.
Not working.
Our next motion is account 105118220, other contractual services. We reduced that by $9,238. This is the fund that we pay for our health, Connecticut Central Health District. We budgeted for one amount and they came in lower. So this is the difference of between that. So I think we could certainly save this money because there's no sense funding something they've already come in lower. So they haven't, I'm told they haven't officially taken that vote. That happens next Tuesday.
This Thursday,
This-
18th.
Oh, 18th, this Thursday. But I spoke with Janet this morning and they're firm that this is the number they're gonna come with. So there is some savings there. There's some savings there of $9,238.
So motion by Counselor Mankey. Do you have a second?
Second.
I'll talk.
Seconded by Counselor Plord. Discussion. Counselor Nagel.
Yes. I agree. It's a factual matter, a percentage which was presented to us previously. That indeed this amount would be reduced by a percentage, and indeed this amount reflects that reduction. And with the assurance by Janet and all parties concerned that the amount would be less, it seems appropriate to reduce the budget by that amount, the $9,238.
Counselor Page.
Thanks, Mayor. I appreciate you folks catching this. As we caucused and discussed this, I was reminded that in fact, Mr. Brown had presented this concept and I had missed it as we were going through the budget. So thank you for catching it. It's a good find.
Counselor, any discussion? I agree with Counselor Page. Yeah, I think this was a great spot and a great find. I'm in favor of this as well. So we have a motion and a second. Can we have a roll call vote on this, please?
Counselor Pedrigo,
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez,
Yes.
Counselor Menke,
Yes.
Counselor Nagel.
Yes.
Counselor Page.
Yes.
Counselor Ford.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Rada.
Yes.
Counselor Tiniakos,
Thumbs up.
Mayor Trister.
He says.
Yes,
yes, I see thumbs up.
I don't know if that's official. How do you record that?
An affirmative, an affirmative.
Gesture.
An affirmative gesture. There you go.
It was the thumb, I think.
Yes, we hope.
Passes 9-0.
Very good, thank you.
And our last change or adjustment is in the CIP, Parks and Recreation, Town Park, Cemetery, and Historical Building Signs. We would cut $45,000 from that fund. I have driven around town, checked out the signs. It seemed okay to me. In a year that's we struggle to meet the Board of Ed's budget. It's certainly, I like signs, but this is something we could easily cut. I think that would put it back in next year. But I think this is somewhere we could save some money for the town and or the taxpayers. So we would propose we cut this initiative.
So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion by Counselor Menke, seconded by Counselor Nagel. Counselor Page.
Thanks, Mayor. I think this is a great number. I like that number. My question for our town manager, for Janet is, anyone else with an opinion on this is, as I drive around, I love this. I mean, the signage has been fantastic. A lot of new signs, beautiful kind of New England character and the wooden signs and so forth. Is this budget for those pretty New Englandy wooden signs, or is it for other more pedestrian, no pun intended, little street signs that are metal and are just
Not
put up?
street signs, that's handled
or-
somewhere else. This would
Okay.
be, I
Those
know
street signs.
one was Clemmelmere.
Okay.
I think that was one park I remember saying, I don't remember where else they talked
Okay.
about replacing.
Is it sense that per Counselor Menke, I don't disagree, I just want to make sure I understand that we're in good shape in the coming year for our signage? And this could be a nice reduction.
For regular street signs that we would, yes, this is a special project. So yeah, there would be no funding for this in this coming year.
But as far as we know, did we have, like, as I drive into this municipal center, there's that pretty New England sign that says what all of our buildings are and so forth. Are we good with those? Do we know, for the next 12 months? Or is there anything earmarked for any of those pretty signs to be put up?
No, that's what this would have been for.
But it's not earmarked.
There's no other funding, I mean, for
But in other words,
signs.
As far as we know, and you may not know, we don't have like, oh my gosh, we were hoping to put up a sign on the corner of Smith and Jones or. on
The
corner
pretty
of-
signs that you're seeing out here were the leftover portion of the building project when we built this building.
Okay.
So,
Okay. So if there's nothing screaming out that needs to be done, I like the idea.
Deputy Mayor Rada.
Yeah, Janet, you asked the question and you just answered mine. It was whether or not there was already money in CIP for this type of signage.
there's not, no.
So this is a new initiative.
Correct.
Yeah,
Okay,
Okay.
Thank you.
thank you.
Can we can revisit this then in 3 to 6 months? And if somebody says we desperately need to put a sign up, we could do a shift if we need to.
you can't do it within CIP, because once you hit July 1st, there's no transfers in CIP until January.
Okay.
So, you would have to wait till then. So if there were other project kind of closed or stuff, you could potentially move it over to
Okay.
cover it, but not till January.
Okay.
Counselor Menke.
And I'm sure, if it's, a car misses a corner and it knocks over the sign, there'd be funds to fix it and maybe through an insurance claim, but we wouldn't go without a sign. But I think this is, in a more perfect world, that we would have funded everything we got asked for and more so, but it's not a perfect world. We're dealing with taxpayers' money and this seems like something we can easily forego, just like in my own house. You know, I would maybe like something to be, a project to be done, but I may have to forego it this year because I have to put it off the next year. And this is one of those things I think we can do that with.
Yeah, actually, I agree with that. Particularly because this isn't something that's ongoing. It's not something they started last year and this isn't putting a halt on their plans. We're just pushing it off to the next year, which, isn't ideal, but considering the situation we're in budgetarily, we kind of have to make those decisions. So I would be in favor of this as well. Any other discussion on this? No? All right. So we have a motion by Counselor Mackey, seconded by Counselor Nagel. Can we have a roll call vote on this, please?
Yes, Counselor Pedrosa.
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Counselor Mackey.
Yes.
Counselor Nagel.
Yes.
Counselor Page.
Yes.
Counselor Ford.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Rata.
Yes.
Counselor Diakos.
Yes.
Mayor Fisher.
Yes.
9-2.
Very good. All righty. Moving right along. Counselor Page,
Thank you, Mayor.
would you like to share some of the other changes that have been proposed?
Yes, please. And as Councilor Mackey shared with me, we've shared our proposals with, minority party. And so there'll be some discussion on these. Item number 3, account number 10834, 8302, reduced tech supplies, tree maintenance, $2,000. I think the idea is, as we look at those trends, I think we were at 2 and then at 4. And so we're now going to 6, I believe. We were going to
I don't know
8.
what trends you're looking at. We
Oh.
asked Marty to get back on this line, so I'm
Right.
not sure what.
Okay, we just was looking at expenditures in the last couple of years. It looked like this would still give them more than they needed in the last couple of years. So,
Costs go up, so I
Right.
can't say you're right or wrong on that.
okay, all right.
Counselor Page, we have a motion by Counselor Page. Do you have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Deputy Mayor Rata. And we have some discussion. Counselor Floyd.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I just took a look here. So it looks like in 2022-23, what they utilized was 4,243. And year to date, based on a discussion we had out of review, was 2,000 that they've used year to date. They've requested 8,000. And so that's where this comes from, just to shave a little off the top, and, give us a little breathing room.
So it gives them 6.
Thank you, Counselor Floyd. Counselor Mackey.
Yeah, I guess I'm not opposed to this. I guess my concern is it seems like we've had more and more storms that come through here and beat up on the trees. And I guess it's like anything else. You roll the dice and you hope this is enough to cover it.
Counselor Pedrosa.
Just to piggyback on what Counselor Mankey said, the neighbor across the street today had trees taken down. I had some storm damage cleanup and it's not a cheap process. It's definitely not a cheap process,
safe
but
process.
if you feel that taking the $2,000 from something like that makes sense to you, I'm not thrilled about it because I love this kind of storms we've been having and then increased winds, but it's still more than last year, I guess, so. That's it.
Thank you, Counselor Pedrosa. Counselor Floyd.
Thank you, Mayor. Just in response to the important points that Councilor Draco and Councilor make, I think if I'm mistaken, please tell me, Janet or Jamie, but we often will contract out to companies to do perhaps not the normal tree maintenance and inventory, but emergency jobs and things like that on town-owned parcels. Is that correct?
You will sometimes, if there's an emergency, you can't get a contractor, it will be our crew. This tech supplies includes the saws, the oil, everything like that, that our crew would use to do it themselves. When it's an outside contractor, that's under the other expense line.
And contractors, you said is where here?
It's
That's
under the other, it's
consultants.
outside contractors, I think, or other contractual services. That's where you would.
Oh, yes, okay, I see it. I think it's 8217. Right. So, I mean, we do have $60,000 earmarked there for that purpose. I can attest, having worked at a tree company for a little bit, that it is not cheap to do that work. But if we do have, that earmarked aside, I think a $2,000 cut it, from my perspective, should be sufficient to allow them to continue to do that work. I'll certainly defer to others though with more information on whether or not that's
We blew
accurate.
through that storm we had a couple years ago in August, we blew through all our tree money before we even got to October. So it depends on the year. It depends on the weather. You can't say for sure. I will say these sidewalks you guys are all planning, over $400 worth we're gonna do. Sometimes our crew gets called in to take care of cleaning up any trees in the way and stuff like that on those. So there's gonna be a lot more activity this year, going through the next 14 months or so.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, discussion? And none. All right, so we have a motion by Counselor Page, seconded by Deputy Mayor Rada. Can we have a roll call vote on this item, please?
Yes, Counselor Pedrico,
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez,
Yes.
Counselor Mackey,
Yes.
Counselor Nagel,
Yes.
Counselor Page.
Yes.
Counselor Ford.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Rada,
Yes.
Counselor Tiniakos,
Yes.
Mayor Twister.
Yes.
Good. Okay. All right, item number 4, account number 101918212, reduce equipment maintenance for facility maintenance, $2,500. That is a variety of pieces of equipment, which Janet or Jamie can speak to more intelligently than I can. But in looking through the budget we were given, looks like it's several pieces of equipment. It still leaves them, it looks like, with a 14% increase over last year. So we thought that that was still a pretty healthy increase.
I'm sorry, which one were you just doing?
I'm sorry, item number 4, it's account 10191, and then it's 8212 line item. Right, correct. Still with a 14% increase in the budget from the previous year.
So motion by Counselor Page. You have a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Gonzalez. We're in discussion part. Yeah, she's just checking, right? Yep.
You good, Janet? Anything else from you, Janet? Or we good?
Any discussion on this? All right, seeing none? But Counselor Floyd.
If I could just, I'm all set to answer my own question in my brain. Thank you.
All right. So I have a motion on the table from Counselor Page, was seconded by Counselor Gonzalez. Can we have a roll call vote on this?
Counselor Pedrico,
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez,
Yes.
Counselor Mackey.
Yes.
Counselor Nagel.
Yes.
Counselor Page.
Yes.
Counselor Ford.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Rada,
Yes.
Counselor Tiniakos,
Yes.
Mayor Twister.
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0.
Okay, moving down to item 19 on our sheet, account number 106108103, to increase human services part-time wages by $6,904. This would give an opportunity to increase one of the social workers to 19 hours a week, providing vital services to some of our most marginalized and at-risk fragile residents.
Motion by Counselor Page. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Counselor Floyd. Any discussion on this? Seeing none, well, I'll just offer a comment that I know that one of the things we were looking at when we first started doing this budget is how we could help some of these areas of need. And we know we identified our human services department as one that really needed a little bit more in terms of resources. So this was in an effort to give them some more staffing and help ease the burden and help get the work done. So I think I'm happy that we're doing this. So we have a motion on the table by Counselor Page. It was seconded by Counselor Floyd. Can we have a roll call vote on this, please?
Yes, Counselor Pedrico.
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Counselor Mackey.
Yes.
Counselor Nagel.
Yes.
Counselor Page.
Yes.
Counselor Ford.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Rada,
Yes.
Counselor Tiniakos,
Yes.
Mayor Twister.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you. And item 20, account number 106108220. This is to increase human services, other contractual hoarding relocations for $10,000. And this is to help, again, some of the folks in our town who are challenged with a variety of stressors and may have some other challenges just in their day-to-day ability to manage things. And this line item is, and Carol could correct me if I'm wrong, is to help folks if they need to be relocated, but they fall above the income levels for the assistance that they might otherwise receive from the other agencies and so forth available. And so this $10,000 would help those folks who might otherwise historically fall through the cracks. And this is a safety issue. It's a public health issue. It's a mental health issue and a lot of psychosocial issues. So we thought this would be important to do for folks.
Okay. A motion on the table by Counselor Page,
Second.
seconded by Deputy Mayor Rada. Any discussion on this? Counselor Floyd.
Pardon, I jumped the gun.
No, you're fine.
Carol, I know you are here. I don't know if this is out of order, but if you could just at all, Councilor Page did a fantastic job, but just could you articulate a little bit more what our responsibility is as a town in this situation, just so the folks at home and the public can understand a little more what this would go towards?
Come on up, Carol.
Yeah.
So, the town is required if a residence is condemned or deemed inhabitable to provide relocation services. It's a statewide requirement. And we have been very fortunate as a town to be able to place folks that have experienced this quickly and or help them through our special needs fund because they fell within the lower income guidelines that we were able to help. If a home were deemed uninhabitable for building code or fire code or whatever, the town is required to provide emergency housing until they find something suitable, comparable. And then once they find something comparable, up to $4,000, which would be only the difference of what they were paying and what they now have to pay. So again, those are statewide requirements and we just don't have the money set aside at this point.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for explaining that. Any other discussion on this? You saw your hand up, you need.
No,
You
my
good?
mistake.
Okay. Very good.
Thank you.
All right, so we had a motion by Counselor Page. It was seconded by Deputy Mayor Rada. Can we have a roll call vote on this, please?
Yes, Counselor Pedrico?
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Counselor Menke?
Yes.
Counselor Nagel?
Yes.
Counselor Page?
Yes.
Counselor Flour?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Rada?
Yes.
Counselor Tiniakos?
Yes.
Mayor Trister?
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0.
Our next item is item 21, account number 106108225, increase human services, special needs, homelessness for $5,000. We had a lot of discussion in our caucus about this, which is in recognizing regionally, if you look at Google Maps and you type in Newington, you see our square or rectangle, I think it is actually a rectangle. That's a lot of what we focus on, which is appropriately, because that's where we're elected and what we administer is this town of Newington. In meeting with folks from Journey Home and from Hands on Hartford and other more regional service providers for our at-risk folks, our homeless folks, I learned that, and I think we shared this data with everybody, that there are at least 6 to 9 people specifically from Newington who are at risk, or not at risk, that they're actually homeless. that are receiving services in Hartford. And there are countless other folks who are sleeping in their cars or are couch surfing or have other needs, which Carol can speak to if we would like her to. And so, but in our discussion, my initial intent was, let's address those folks who end up in Hartford, who then Hartford pays for, and we didn't necessarily. But in our discussion, I think the feeling was, let's start with helpful conversations with Carol, let's start to address the needs of the Newington folks who are in Newington in times of crisis or need relative to their housing needs, whether it's emergency, overnight stay somewhere, or other support services. And then we can monitor that and get data from Carol and continue these conversations and see where it goes from there. So that's the rationale for the 5,000 to start and see how we can utilize those resources and address the needs of our folks.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table from Counselor Page,
Second.
seconded by Deputy Mayor Rada. Any discussion further on this? Counselor Menke.
Certainly think it's a noble cause. I'm well aware of the homeless problem in the area, not just Newington, it's area wide. My only concern, I guess, is if we make a line item for $5,000 and we spend it all, then there's still a line item. Will people then expect it to continue using those services, and we'll have to keep putting more money into that line item from someplace else? So if this $5,000 runs out in December, for instance, then what happens in January, February, March, April, May, especially seeing as we put a line item in the budget now saying we're going to cover these emergency services, and someone has emergency in February and there's no money to cover it. We would then, I think, be obligated then to fund this somehow, as if we would be obligated to fund any other shortage that would happen on our budget. If we go over in the tree cutting line of the budget, we still have to fund that somehow. We have to get the money from someplace else. So I just a cautionary note that this once you establish a fund, and once people then start using this fund, once it's used up, we are then on the hook, I think, legally and morally, to continue providing these services, even if there's no more money in this fund.
Thank you, Counselor Menke. Counselor Borrego.
Counselor Page, I like this approach better than the one that we talked about a few weeks ago. In terms of, because I think our Human Services Department, even though it's I'm sure $5,000 can be used up within a month or two. I mean, seriously, but I'm sure our Human Services Department knows the needs a little bit better, maybe, and who the residents are, and I think can creatively use this seed money maybe to see what can be done. So I like this approach better than what was discussed before.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Nagel.
I'd like to echo what Counselor Borrego has mentioned before, that I'm happy to see that the conversation, when it's come down to the actual presentation, is geared specifically to Newington students, residents who are homeless. Granted, we all would like to help the homeless just generally, but this council is here to use taxpayer dollars wisely, specifically for town residents and those that are in need in the town of Newington. So I'm also appreciative that it has been changed to how it's been presented to us tonight.
Thank you, Counselor Nagel. Deputy Mayor Rada.
Yes, having this be part of that's my other hat that I wear and part of the work that I do on an almost daily basis. And Carol and I have worked together. There's one, situation in particular that we've both discussed at different points in time with someone quite elderly living in their car inside the bounds of Newington. And I can tell you that over the past 2.5 years, the outreach team that I work on does get called occasionally or given information to go out and engage and connect with someone who is unsheltered in Newington. And Carol, I think you mentioned in your description of the hoarding situation and the need for alternative housing, that there are folks who, for a given period of time, are going to need emergency housing. There are ways that we connect with our region, the Greater Hartford region, through what's called the Coordinated Access Network. So that starting out, and I like, Gail, I like the term you use, seed money, because this is kind of what we were thinking of. Let's get something started. Let's initiate a line item in this budget to see how we can then, what the greater need is and the cost, and how we can move forward in the next few years. But to be able to at least provide a roof over someone or families or couple's head until the time that that connection with a larger network can be made, and then they can be moved to other places. And I think that's what's important. And being part of that network behooves us as a community to, excuse me, be able to take care of our residents.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Rada. Any other discussion? We have a motion from Counselor Page, who was seconded by Deputy Mayor Rada. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, Councilor Draco.
Yes.
Councilor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilor Mackey.
Yes.
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 Councilor Ford.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Rada.
Yes.
Councilor Tiniaco.
Yes.
Mayor Twister.
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0.
Very good.
And our last item is item 22, account number 101608220. And thank you, Janet, for your help with this. This is to increase the town attorney line by $14,400. As you may recall, our mayor made a decision about going with a law firm this year. And because we're no longer having, at least as I've historically thought of it, I think this is how we think of this, a set retainer fee of roughly $10,000 or $11,000 a month for services provided. We would do that, and then to varying degrees, depending upon the activity or business of the town, farm out, as we call it, farm out any of the specialized services that the town attorneys may not have as much familiarity with. And so if you take the retainer of 10 or 11,000 a month, and then you combine that with those farmed out fees, and you look historically over the last several years, and Janet, you provided that to me recently, I appreciate that. And you look at the, and you have obviously a better handle on this, you pay the bills, what those billable hours are. You take that and look at the contractual rate that we've agreed to with this new firm, that this would then bring us up to, we hope, a projected reasonable amount. Our hope is that in addition to the excellent services they'll provide, that it also may prove to be a savings to the town. That is yet to be seen. It's speculation. I'm not guaranteeing that, but that is one of the hoped for benefits. And we'll review this, the mayor will, in 3 to 6 months, and we'll go from there. So.
Yeah, I just want to add to that. We're in uncharted territories for the town on this. This is a new thing that we've never done before. So the increase is reflective of, to Janet's point, to Janet's recommendation, that this represents 40 hours of legal town attorney services per month at a $300 an hour rate. So that's where we came up with this figure. It's up in the air as to how that's going to play out in reality, but we felt it would be better to be conservative and give ourselves a little extra just to be safe, and hopefully come in under, but rather than the opposite. So that's why we're proposing this change. So we have a motion by Counselor Page. Second. Seconded by Counselor Gonzalez. Any discussion? Seeing none. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Draco.
Here, yes.
Yes.
Here, right, voting.
Further in.
Here.
Present.
Councilor Mackey.
Here.
Very.
I did.
Oh,
Yeah.
You want me to start again?
Sure.
Councilor Draco.
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez,
Yes.
Counselor Mayhew,
Yes.
Counselor Nagel,
Yes, also.
Page,
Yes, and I'm here.
Lord,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Rada,
Yes.
Counselor Tiniakos,
Yes.
Mayor Tristan.
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0.
Very good. All right. So that concludes any of the changes that we have to make at this point in time. At this point, we will go back into recess again briefly. Is that correct? So that we
Take
could,
maybe 5 minutes to get something on the screen for you.
okay, very good. So yeah, we'll go back into a recess for about 5 minutes. And any, entertain a motion that we recess for 5 minutes.
So moved.
A second. Check. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're in recess. We're up. All right. We are back from recess. We did have one additional proposal that we wanted to discuss before we finalize. Counselor Page?
Thank you, Mayor. We like the idea of providing money to senior center Meals on Wheels. So for line item, account number 106448217, we'd like to take combination of the savings, some of the savings that we've accrued tonight, and add to the meals, senior center Meals on Wheels, $13,738.
13,728.
$13,738.
What line is new?
And that's senior center Meals on Wheels, 106448217.
We have a motion on the table from Counselor Page,
Second.
seconded by Counselor Gonzalez. Any discussion on this? Counselor Mankey?
Certainly a good cause, and I certainly, obviously, from our earlier discussions, think it's a good effort. Unfortunately, see, my side hasn't had a chance to caucus on this. You just presented it tonight. You don't need my vote because we have the 6, we have the 3. I'll abstain from voting on this. But I do support in principle the fact that we would support the Meals on Wheels.
Counselor Page?
Thanks, Mayor. I would just think because you brought it up, so we thought it was a great idea. We just want to add to it.
I agree. We have
You've already caucused on it and you brought it up. It's your idea. So thank you.
Counselor Nagel?
Question, why the specific amount? I didn't quite catch since.
We looked at the savings that we've achieved through some of your excellent ideas, and we've said because of your excellent idea of funding the senior center more robustly because of our shared concerns, that we shift that money over to those folks who may be most in need.
So those specific savings came from where?
$9,238 your cut, for example, from.
For health service,
Health services.
district.
Yeah, for one. And then Matt, can you, Counselor Blur,
Sure.
he did the math. He's the smart one.
Sometimes. $2,000 from the tree maintenance that we just cut this evening. And then $2,500 from the facilities, I think it was equipment maintenance that we cut this evening as well. That number comes out to the 13,738.
I was an English major, but thank you.
That's all right. I was humanities myself. So So someone should double check that, is what I'm saying.
Counselor Draco? Oh, sorry.
I'm
Hang on.
needing remedial help.
The 2 and the 2.
Okay, and that's going into where? The senior, the
The senior
senior
Meals on Wheels,
disabled
right.
center? Oh, okay,
Right.
okay. Thank you. So just to clarify that it's savings we've already accrued from this budget, and rather than just keeping it in the general fund, we're allocating it towards.
Right, again, based on your important comments about helping our seniors in this time of crisis.
Yeah, I think particularly with the cuts we made tonight, that this would, help as well. So that's, I think that makes sense. All right, so we have a motion on the table from Counselor Page, who was seconded by Counselor Gonzalez. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, Counselor Pedrico?
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Counselor Mankey?
Abstain.
Counselor Nagel?
Yes.
Counselor Page?
Yeah, do I have, I'll vote now, but I wanted to know if you could just speak to your abstention, but yes.
Counselor Ford?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Rada?
Yes.
Counselor Tiniakos?
Yes.
Mayor Twister?
Yes.
8 yes, 1 abstention.
I guess it's a last minute adjustment. You could have said, hey, Tim, we're making these adjustments. Can you go out in the hallway? We'll explain them to you. You didn't. You guys made the adjustment. I support it, but I wasn't consulted at first. And for me, sometimes principles are important.
So the principle of not being consulted.
We sat here for
Funding
15
the
minutes.
elderly.
You could have taken a minute to explain it to us so we would have a chance to discuss that. We probably would have supported it, but
And two of your colleagues did.
Okay.
All right. So back to you, Janet.
More,
No problem. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Having way too much fun with this. And make sure this all adds up. Adds enough.
Trying not to practice math in public.
yeah, it's a bad thing to do.
It's
that.
bad.
Matches. Ooh, yay.
That good, I hope.
Oh, yeah, it's good.
Good thing.
Like we try to balance it.
Yeah, it is.
It's like the doctor. I don't like when they say, uh-oh. I'd rather they say yay.
I just gotta change your revenue side.
Here or there, I just make a note, make an
Right.
adjustment.
For the next one.
Yeah, no, for the, oh, yeah, the next three. These ones. There, show me, put them up there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll be sharing the screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully,
Hopefully.
hopefully. A second, I just gotta change it first.
Whole town is waiting in suspense.
I know, right?
Sorry. Just don't want to give you something.
No
that's not
pressure,
right.
Janet.
I'm not worried about it. You might not see much, but I'm off $1. So give
If
me.
I give you the dollar.
I
got a buck.
Just
I
a
go,
dollar,
we just make
really.
it, just call it even for.
I'm with you.
Just call it an adjustment, donation.
And I found. And I just have to fill in your mill rate and you guys will be ready to go with all these lovely
Thank you.
resolutions. Don't think me in. Somebody's got to read all these. They're not fun.
Thanks, Mayor. Thanks, Mitch.
You have to read all. I guess so, yeah. The mayor has appointed me.
Congratulations.
I know. We have to pick. Gotta go to your shooters. I know, it's a lot of choice.
Matt,
I like
it
that
didn't
one.
change. It's exactly what it was.
You're kidding. Nice.
Wow. All right, now Scott's gonna help me share this. Right, Scott? Meeting.
Share screen.
Screen. Yep. Yes, it is.
Very good.
All yours.
Very good. So I just want to make that bigger, or you're gonna scroll it down as I speak? Okay, thank you.
All right, Councilor Page.
So make a motion?
Yes, please read the resolution.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolved that the following general fund appropriations of the town of Newington are hereby adopted for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2024, and ending June 30, 2025, in accordance with section 805 of the Charter of the town of Newington. Appropriations, town government operations, general government, $6,758,585. Public safety, $10,569,364. Public Works, $6,176,691. Community Planning and Development, $671,535. Public Health, $251,818. Community Services, $1,214,593. Public Library, $1,985,712. Parks and Recreation, $2,047,390. Insurance Miscellaneous, $12,773,804. And then over to the right, totaling $42,449,492. Debt service, $2,519,005. Metropolitan District, $4,861,391. Capital improvements, $4,980,311. Equipment reserve is $1,414,491. Employee leave liability reserve fund, $49,600. Board of Education, $87,089,625. Total appropriations, $143,363,915. Excuse me, be it further resolved that in accordance with section 805 of the Charter of the Town of Newington, the following general fund estimated revenues be raised to meet these appropriations. Estimated revenues, current taxes, $100,008,635. Prorated taxes, $1,130,637. Prior year taxes, $400,000. Interest and liens, $350,000. Motor vehicle tax, $10,579,524. Payment in lieu of taxes, $6,024,394. Cannabis tax, $300,000. Assessments, $16,205. Licenses and permits, $534,500. Rentals, $98,000. Investment income, $700,000. Fines, $22,000. Charges for services, $669,600. Refunds and reimbursements, $22,000. Sale of town property, $5,300. State aid, $18,864,660. Federal aid, $9,000. Miscellaneous, $90,000. Transfer from other funds, $214,460 for a total of $140,038,916. General fund balance applied, $3,325,000. Total estimated revenues and applied fund balance, $143,363,915.
You keep going.
Yep, be it further resolved that the clerk is hereby instructed to place the accompanying general fund budget summary on the record of this meeting to illustrate the above appropriations and revenue estimates. Be it further resolved that the following budget is hereby adopted for the public school capital improvement projects reserve fund for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2024 to June 30, 2025. Appropriations district-wide HVAC, $160,000. District-wide security and safety, $60,000. Painting, $50,000. Carpeting, $50,000. District-wide playground renovations, $50,000. District-wide technology infrastructure, $750,000. District-wide blacktop paving, $50,000. District-wide vehicles, $30,000. Total appropriations, $1,200,000. Estimated revenue, general fund appropriations, $125,000. Interest earnings, $2,000. Tuition receipts, $1 million. School rental receipts, $73,000. Total estimated revenues and applied fund balance, $1,200,000.
This resolution keeps on going.
It keeps on going. Resolved that the Newington Town Council hereby adopts the Town of Newington Long Range Capital.
Stop
That's the
the
next
one you
one.
just did.
Oh,
This is the next one.
Okay,
So stop
thank you.
at the adoption of the operating budget for fiscal year.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Page, seconded by Counselor Menke. Any discussion on this?
It was well read.
Thank you. All right, thank you. I'll give it a roll call vote, please, Susan.
Yes, Counselor Pedroia?
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Counselor Menke?
Yes.
Counselor Nagel?
Yes.
Counselor Page?
Yes.
Counselor Fuller?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Rada?
Yes.
Counselor Kiniakos?
Yes.
Mayor Tristan?
Yes, thank you.
This is your next one for the adoption of the long-range capital
Want me to read that
improvement plan.
Either way, whatever you want, Mayor.
I'll read this one.
Okay,
Sorry, I didn't know.
you're good.
All right. Resolved that the Newington Town Council hereby adopts the Town of Newington Long Range Capital Improvement Plan 2024-2025 through 2028-2029, a final copy of which will be on file in the town clerk's office. Note, this vote is binding only for the funds committed for fiscal year 2024-2025. The proposed funding for 2025-2026 through 2028-2029 is for planning purposes only and is subject to change through future budget deliberations. Oh, that was an easy one.
Second.
Motion by me, seconded by Counselor Page. Any discussion? Counselor Floyd?
Just quick, Mayor, I do believe it says long range plan. I don't know if that's, yeah, I just want to. Did your job too.
Any other discussion on this?
Notice if you was reading.
Yeah. Can we have a roll call vote, please, Susan?
Yes, Counselor Pedroia?
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Counselor Menke?
Yes.
Counselor Nagel?
Yes.
Counselor Page?
Yes.
Counselor Fuller?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Rada?
Yes.
Counselor Kiniakos?
Yes.
Mayor Tristan?
Yes.
So passes 9 yes.
Tim, you want to read this one?
No, but I will. Resolved in accordance with section 805, the town charter of the town of Newington, town council hereby fixes a tax rate of 39.67 mils for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2024 and ending June 30th, 2025, which shall be levied on taxable real estate, real and personal property, and in accordance with Connecticut General Statutes, section 417-418. There shall be a tax rate of 32.46 mils for motor vehicles property in the town of Newington, listed on the October 1st, 2023 grand list. And said tax shall become due and payable in accordance with section 43-1 of the Newington Code of Ordinances. The town manager is hereby authorized to make out and sign the mill rate bill in accordance with this motion.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Mankey, seconded by Counselor Page. Any discussion on this? All right, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, Counselor Federico?
Here, yes, I'm sorry.
Just you're here and
Ellis?
Yes.
Counselor Mankey?
yes.
Counselor Nagel?
Yes.
Counselor Page?
Yes.
Counselor Ford?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Rada?
Yes.
Counselor Yakos?
Yes.
Mayor Trista?
Yes.
9 yes.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Janet. Thank you for, let me just say before we conclude, I want to thank you, Janet, and thank you, Jamie, and everybody for all your work on this, which was many, many months before we took over, and we really are appreciative of so much, everything that you guys have done for us and answering all our questions and helping us learn through this process. So thank you very, very much for everything.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Counselor Mankey, go ahead.
I would echo those sentiments. I promise not to call you tomorrow, Janet. I can't promise about Thursday, but tomorrow you're off. And I also thank the rest of the council. It's budgets are never easy. Budgets are difficult. They are time consuming. I think we've all spent hours looking at these books. I will be happy to put these books in my basement and sometime next year sort them out and go through them. But I think it's a worthwhile endeavor, but it's a laborious endeavor. I think we can all probably relax now tomorrow because we don't have to worry about lugging these budget books around.
Very much. Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Draco.
Yeah, echoing the compliments to Jamie and Janet. I think you did an outstanding job of bringing the initial budget proposal to the council. And there really wasn't an awful lot of, when I saw it, like, oh my God. And, you know, as the discussions went on, it's natural that there were some areas where maybe we didn't fully agree with all the changes. Maybe a reduction or two, you know, could have, in our opinion, you know, made sense in maybe one of the bigger ticket items of the budget. And there are some areas that maybe were cut, but we made our voices known, you know, during the discussion, and it was collegial and collaborative. And a budget is also, it's not just about the money. I think this process, it's about values and principles. And I think from our perspective and yours as well, it reflects a desire, I think, for collaboration and moving forward as a team for the betterment of the taxpayers of this town. So I'm pleased that it's over with. I'm pleased that we all agreed and were respectful of each other, and let's hope that the needs of the town are going to be well addressed going forward.
Counselor Nagel.
I do appreciate also everything that everyone on town has done on the town side, Jamie, Janet, others who have helped you to help to explain to us and to deal with the figures and what we can do with whatever. And also I really have mutually discussed, and we have differed on things, but we've come to a solution, and one that is reality. And speaking of reality, I know something that people in town are going to ask. I have the answer tonight, or I could have it tomorrow. And others are curious, what is the change in the mill rate and what is the percentage change? I know I saw you putting things away and I was saying, don't do that.
Because it didn't change.
Huh?
It didn't change from, so with the changes you made
From
last
this past year's,
last Tuesday.
To
it was the
this one.
same. So I can.
I'm just saying from last year, not just from last
No,
Tuesday.
but-
You know what I mean?
I printed that one.
Yeah, we did.
That was I heard.
Okay.
The mill rate is 39.67.
Right.
That is an increase of 1.31 mils or 3.4%.
Thank you very much. As I said, I know everyone's going to want to know that and get their figures out. And if we have that stated right here in front of all of us, we're at least we're clear as to where we're heading. And I realize it's a difficult task we had to go through, and times are difficult, and the next year's budget, I'm sure will provide challenges as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bless you, Janet.
Run.
Thank you, guys.
I sure should run up and sit to
All right, so we are moving along in old business to item D, Fair Housing Month Resolution. There's another long resolution, but Council Gonzalez. This year committee, I figured you,
Okay, hold on, I gotta get to the right page. I thought we were done.
no, we still got a few months.
You mean,
Yeah, you
still
thought-
the meeting?
You thought so.
We do.
Okay, yep. What am I reading?
Keep going. So you,
Right here.
there you are.
Okay, thank you for putting me on the spot.
Sorry.
Whereas, whereas all persons are afforded a right to full and equal housing opportunities in the neighborhood of their choice, and whereas federal fair housing laws require that all individuals, regardless of race, color, religion, sex, handicapped, familial status, or national origin, can be given equal access to all housing-related opportunities, including rental and home ownership opportunities, and be allowed to make free choices regarding housing location. And whereas Connecticut fair housing laws require that all individuals, regardless of race, creed, color, national origin, ancestry, sex, marital status, age, lawful source of income, familial status, learning disability, physical or mental disability, sexual orientation, or gender identity or expression be given equal access to all housing-related opportunities, including rental and home ownership opportunities, and be allowed to make free choices regarding housing location. And whereas the town of Newington is committed to upholding these laws and realizes that these laws must be supplemented by an affirmative statement publicly endorsing the right of all people to full and equal housing opportunities in the neighborhood of their choice. Now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and the Newington Town Council hereby endorses the fair housing policy to ensure equal opportunity for all persons to rent, purchase, and obtain financing for adequate housing of their choice on a non-discriminatory basis. And be it further resolved that the town manager of the town of Newington or their designated representative is responsible for responding to and assisting any person who alleges to be the victim of any illegal discriminatory housing practices in the town of Newington, and for advising such person of the right to file a complaint with the State of Connecticut Commission on Human Rights and Opportunities, CHRO, or the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, HUD, or to seek assistance from the Connecticut Fair Housing Center, Legal Services, or other fair housing organizations to protect his or her right to equal housing opportunities, adopted by the Newington Town Council this 9th day of April, 2024.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Gonzalez, seconded by Councilor Nagel. Any discussion?
Do we need to correct that date, just so it's official?
Yes, please.
16.
16.
Yeah,
No, you read it, the way it's written.
Councilor Floyd?
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to soapbox for a hot second that, the Fair Housing Act of 1968 as a portion of the Civil Rights Act was passed just 4 days after the assassination of Martin Luther King back in 1968. And it was, that is very intentional. If you go back and reflect on the history, it was seen as a way to give comfort to the country that Dr. King's legacy would continue far after his murder. And at a time when the country was reeling around matters of equity and social justice and racial justice, and there were still so many inequities throughout, there was still an understanding that despite the loss of this lightning rod of a figure, that work would continue. And so I hope that, I know that this has been passed, by subsequent councils and, will continue to far into the future. And I hope that we can do our best to reflect on that history and make it as actionable as possible. We have a housing monitoring agency here in Newington, meets on an as-needed basis. It hasn't met in quite some time. And I think they could do a lot of great work to this end to ensure that the creed described in this resolution is actually lived out in the town of Newington beyond what it could be. So I just want to plead to that extent. I know we all agree about this, I'm sure, but I hope that we can hold our own feet to the fire and, honor Dr. King's legacy in the same way that the Fair Housing Act did just 4 days after his passing.
Thank you.
Well said. Any other discussion on this? Seeing none, we have a motion by Counselor Gonzalez, seconded by Counselor Nagel. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries unanimously, 9-0. All right, moving on to item E. Mill Pond Falls Pedestrian Bridge 824 referral. Counselor Floyd, would you read that resolution?
Jeez.
This is short. Sorry.
This one's much shorter.
Yeah, much shorter.
Resolved that the Newington Town Council hereby directs and authorizes Jamie Trevathan, acting town manager, to refer the matter of the Mill Pond Falls Pedestrian Bridge Project to the Town Planning and Zoning Commission for its report in accordance with section 8-24 of the Connecticut General Statutes.
Second.
Counselor Floyd, seconded by Deputy Mayor Rada. Any discussion on this? Counselor Page.
Thanks, Mary. Yeah, we've gotten some good feedback from those who know about this. I had not thought about the finish on this, and I hope those who make that decision ultimately relative to the finish for protecting people who are walking along and maybe taking pictures and have fancy clothes on and so forth, that would be something that we can consider when making choices about the finish of this bridge.
Yeah, if I may.
Please.
I attended the Parks and Rec Board meeting at 6:00 this evening, just prior to this meeting. The council's responsibility in this process is to refer to H-24 for the TPZ's input. The board, the parks staff and board really are looking at the design of the bridge, taking into consideration your discussion, from last week. They are looking to do a painted surface that would match the color of the current bridge. In terms of the actual camber or arch of the bridge, as I suspected at the last meeting, that is an ADA compliance issue and accessibility issue. So they can do you'll see it, there's a memo in your packet explaining this from Chris DeVito, who's also, I think, on this meeting. Chris is here. That they can do a 1% arch. So it won't be as flat as the picture you saw last week, but it won't be as arched either because that's just the newer standards in accessibility. And that's just passing that along from the Board of Parks and Rec. They passed that resolution earlier this evening.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion on this? All right, we have a motion by Counselor Floyd, seconded by Deputy Mayor Rada. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. On to Town Manager Search, item 7F. Deputy Mayor Rada, would you read that resolution, please? Read the shortest one.
Let me see.
That's a couple pages of it.
I got it. Let me find it.
Ready.
Oh, thank you. My throat thanks you. Resolved, the Newington Town Council hereby approves the job description of the town manager position as recommended by the Town Manager Search Committee.
Motion by by Deputy Mayor Rada. Do we have a
Second.
Seconded by Counselor Gonzalez. Counselor Pacheco.
Yes, I guess I have a little bit of an issue, the fact that we're voting on it today, simply because, and I'll be quite honest, I was focusing on the budget. I read the agenda and said town manager search. It didn't say anything about voting on a job description for the town manager. Normally, I mean, in the past, we've had new job descriptions come before us for, clerks and, ditch diggers and, whatever. And we've usually been given the description and then at least one vote on it the next meeting. I really haven't even had a chance to compare this. I mean, apparently, I guess there was no job description before, but I haven't really had a chance to read this and review this, and this is probably one of the most important job descriptions in the town. And I just feel that it's being rushed. I wish that we can just, we have it in front of us, to read it and discuss and vote on it in the next meeting. I just don't feel I've had sufficient time to be able to adequately review it. And it was kind of like sprung on us. It's just my feeling.
Counselor Page?
Thanks, Mayor. Yeah, I totally understand. And my own take on this is being on the subcommittee is that there is we can get some help on this from Heather and the committee's review of other job descriptions from other towns. This is very, very important. You're right. I don't disagree. My concern is we were hoping to post this in May, and we are on the verge of possibly canceling the next meeting. So I would, if people do want, and I don't fault you for that, I criticize you for wanting more time, I would consider then looking at maybe a special meeting before May, even if it's 20 minutes to vote on this out of respect to people's desire to have a more thorough review of it. That's all. Thanks.
I think that's reasonable, to give some time, but I think, we would want to call a special before, probably prior to the end of this month, just so we could get it done. But yeah, I'd be fine with that.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's fair. Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, I concur. I agree with you, Councilor Vico and Councilor Page, that there is some time sensitivity to this because as we're moving, as we're moving ahead in these steps, but I think to give us possibly a week to read through and then reconvene a special meeting, I would be in favor of that.
Counselor Bedrejko?
Yeah, if we're gonna have a special meeting, and again, because apparently, from what I've been told, there really was no job description for a town.
Correct.
Right.
So
Correct.
the past, the posting that went out previously, didn't include one, whatever. So I mean, it's always good to have a concrete would actually that, you can do a link and say, for those who are interested, hit the link and, if we needed to, but I appreciate the fact that we'll have a special meeting, so we won't need to delay this. But when we have a special meeting, I was just wondering too, if maybe we can see, because last time there was like a whole thing about, who Newington is and what we did or whatever, that's going to go out with the posting of the announcement. If we can possibly see that at the next, at the special meeting, so we can see the whole package that would be going out.
No, absolutely. And we reviewed those materials and they're essentially just going to be updated relative to any other minor changes, but because they're good materials about our wonderful town. So agreed, we could have those materials ready for next time.
Sure.
Yep.
Thank you.
Counselor Mankey?
Yeah, I think it would be, if we delay it, I guess it would be good that the public, if they read the agenda quickly, they wouldn't know we're voting on this, I guess.
Good point.
And I think that's to be transparent, let them know what's going on. I can tell you that the committee did look at what was posted last time, and we took things from that, and we took things from other job postings within the town to make this document here. So it's kind of an amalgamation of a bunch of different options, different information, piece of information. But we did think it was important that there be a job description for the town manager, so we all know exactly what he's expected to do. Even though there's that, that one section in all job descriptions, other duties as required, that sort of covers everything we didn't talk about before, but
We can do anything.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Nagel?
I would agree. And in addition, it also gives the public a chance to see what the job description is. Just knowing what it is and to see that we're working on something as opposed to not being transparent enough. So they're in on what we're looking for in terms of a new town manager, and that we're formalizing something which we haven't had before, and make it clear to everybody as to what his or her duties and responsibilities are.
Thank you, Counselor Nagel. So I guess we're good with leaving this on the agenda for a
I
special
will
meeting.
rescind my motion.
Rescind your motion. Kathy, do you rescind your second?
I rescind my second.
Okay, so we're just gonna leave this on the agenda for next time. We'll call a special. Are you good? Moving along to item G. Cancel 2024 regular town council meeting. Councilor Rodrigo, would you read that resolution?
The Newington Town Council hereby amends the adopted 2024 annual meeting schedule and approves the cancellation of the April 23rd, 2024 Town Council regular meeting.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Rodrigo, seconded by Councilor Page. Any discussion on this? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, we are done with old business. We're gonna move any written or oral communications from the town manager, other town agencies. Anything for us tonight?
Nothing tonight.
Any council liaisons on our committee reports?
Just, we usually don't
Yeah,
do
we're not
those
gonna do
because
those.
of
Okay, very
special
good.
meetings, so.
Okay, so nobody has anything? All right,
That
Well, one thing we both were at the fire commissioners meeting last Thursday, Councilor
Yes.
Mankey and I, and one of the things that I asked for, let me see if I can find it now. The commissioners and the chiefs went through a list of all of the updates, their reports, and some of the highlights, and I asked if we could have some information presented or given to us so that we kind of have a sense of what's been going on with the fire department. So if you could indulge me for a few moments, here are the statistics. It's what they're seeing compared to fiscal year 2022, 2023. 8% increase in members eligible for pay per call, 11% increase in members responding to calls on average, 15% increase in training attendance. The last major daytime fire, 43 members responded. Their first quarter calendar year of 2024, which was January through March, Newington Fire Department logged 2,177 hours of non-incident volunteer time, which is training, community engagement, fire prevention, committee meetings, and office work. They will be over 100 members by the end of June. 7 years ago, they reached a low of 78. So this number does not include the cadets, who are also, a tremendous resource. And, from what we hear, are really itching to move from their cadet status into firefighter status. And a lot of training is taking place. And I don't know, Councilor Mankey, if you wanted to speak to anything else that.
I think you covered it.
They have a new training apparatus, which I think maybe they're already using, but will be kind of showcased at the Costa dinner, from what I've been told. So counselors that are there, you may be able to take part and try it out.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Rowley. All right, moving along to public participation on agenda items. If you are in the room and would like to speak in public participation, come on up. If not, raise your hand over the Zoom function and we will let you speak. I see we have someone on Zoom. Go right ahead, Ms. Lyons.
Hi, Rose Lyons, 46 Elton Drive. Well, another budget completed, and basically I'm pleased with the cuts and the additions that you've made, and hopefully former Mayor Mortensen is watching and will up my grade from an F that I received about 15 years ago for participation in the budget process and up me to an A+ so I can call it quits this year. I find it funny, but not funny, that former town manager Chapman questioned me as to why I attend these meetings, and I don't just trust the elected officials to do what we elected them to do.
You shouldn't.
And former town manager Hutka, when Councilor Badraco introduced me to him and told him that I attend the budget sessions, he says, "Oh, that's so boring." He said, "Why don't you go volunteer over at the senior center?" Well, this is boring, but it's interesting, and I at least get to say what I have to say. and I have no complaints that I need to put out onto Facebook. I say them right to you. With that being said, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that I, again, am going to push that you do something with our website. Yesterday, there was a back and forth on Facebook regarding the mill rate. I had to get myself involved in that, and that just ups my blood pressure, and I really don't like it. I have been advocating for flood control along the south branch of the Park River, as I've watched it for 20 years now. So as you're thinking and contemplating about bonding for pools, keep in mind that if we lose that flood control, then the people along that area will have to start paying for flood insurance. The CIP, another one of Mr. Chapman's changes to the budget, he said then that he was doing away with the subcommittee, but at some future point, we may look back at it and decide we might want to do it. Might be something you might like to look into. Connectivity grants and things like that. Bear in mind, let's keep the maintenance up of our pathways and trails, and even the tree maintenance and the sidewalks before we start looking for any more connectivity. Lack of maintenance in this town has gotten us into a lot of problems and cost us a lot of money. That being said, I am so glad that you're keeping the mill rate at what it's at, or is what was proposed last time, because I believe we have reval coming up soon. So as a low-income senior, I appreciate your efforts, and someday you'll be where I am, and you will appreciate what you're doing now to make the town better and to keep it maintained the way it should be. Thank you again.
Thank
Thanks.
you, Ms.
Thank you,
Lyons.
Ms. Lyons. For the record, I will give you an A for participation for this budget cycle.
Thank you so much.
Have a good one. Okay, do you have somebody else over Zoom? All right, go right ahead, Ms. Yap.
Is she there?
Yep,
You're
Ms.
muted
Yap.
if you don't know.
Unmute. Okay, can you hear me
There you
now?
go. Yes,
Okay,
thank you.
sorry. Anastasia at 138 8th Street, Newington, Connecticut. Calling as a resident and current Board of Ed member. I received an email stating that we anticipated to approve our budget tomorrow at 5.95%. And there was a detailed memo sent out last week. I received this from the superintendent, and that we'll need to make additional cuts. One of the cuts that was, and it's just the way it was done, we were asked, we already decided we would cut up to 400,000 before it went to you. And some of the cuts we agreed to and not agreed to. And then we also said that we'd discuss it further. So although on record it was unanimous, there were things that we were going to discuss. One of the cuts that I'm telling you is going to be detrimental to our Board of Education is cutting CABE. If you're not familiar with CABE, it's Connecticut Association of the Board of Education. It's $21,000 for this line item. $21,493 is our membership due every year. If you're not familiar with that, that's exactly what the town council has as CCM and the superintendent has as caps. Essentially, we use this to allow board members to, get trainings, updates, update our policies according to state statute. And if we cut this, it's going to cost the town a lot more than we anticipate. I spoke to the head of CABE today, and his name is Jody. He was the former superintendent in Hamden, a former principal at the public school in West Hartford. And what we aren't noting is that the CABE membership gives us our cloud in which we hold all the policies that the MPS school system stores. And when I asked him, was there a way if we cut CABE to get all the policies that we have stored on this cloud for years? He said, no, unfortunately, once this contract is over, you will no longer have access to any policies that you've had. You will also lose your $800 fee a year, which allows us unlimited legal services and different things. I plan on speaking about this at the Board of Ed. I think that people are very uninformed. I did speak to the board chair and asked her, could we allow Jody to come speak? And I was declined. I asked him how many towns in Connecticut are a member of CABE. It's 147 out of 169, and the difference in the towns is because some of them are regionalized towns, so they kind of work together. We would have to, as a Board of Ed, then search for a place to put all of our board policies, which will cost in excess of $21,000. With my research, we would also have to go back to paper policies that we'd have to find a company to upload them on. I think that we would, losing legal support and things like that. They also help with any, anything we need as a board member besides training, policy development, access to legal advice. I'm also going to be asking the superintendent for a breakdown. If we get rid of CABE at $21,000 membership, what is the cost going to be to the town and the board to constantly access legal advice from Shipman and Goodwin, which I know exceeds $21,000 a year, as I was finance chair for the last 2 years. So I'm asking that. I was told that with this budget, we wouldn't cut any teachers, but I'm also asking that we don't cut CABE because you guys have CCM, the superintendent has caps, and I feel that the Board of Ed desperately needs to have CABE because we would be essentially, I don't know, doing something that the rest of the state isn't currently doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Anybody else would like to speak in public participation? Seeing none, we'll move on to remarks by counselors. Counselor Floyd.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to speak more generally. I wanted to refrain from my comments earlier. I wanted to hold them till now, just on the budget, and thanking, of course, Jamie and Janet and all those who have helped us and, dare I say, held our hand or new to this. I'll be the first one to say it. To help us through this process. I think we've all learned a lot, and I think we feel really wonderful about the budget that we were able to pass on a bipartisan basis this evening. So I just want to echo that. And I also want to say that we really thank the public for the tremendous input that they provided to us, not just in these meetings, though some, like Ms. Lyons, did get an A+ in showing up, but others
Just an edge.
we'll save the plus for next year, Rose. That's right. But others emailed, called, with all the derision that the social media gets, and sometimes with good reason, folks posted online asking legitimate questions and having concerns that made their way through the grapevine to all of us. And so we just appreciate everybody's input and everybody's attention to this process, and look forward to doing it again in the future. Thank you.
Counselor Floyd. Counselor Mankey.
Yeah, just a quick thing. It's, again, one of my pet peeves. I would just ask that at our next regular meeting, we don't have to do a special meeting because I want to keep that short. Our next regular meeting, we have a resolution to move the money from the OCR compliance fund. That's that about 223,000 just sitting there doing nothing. I would recommend we move that back to the general fund. Close out that account. It's not being used. That money should be moved back to the general fund. I just want to go on record so we don't forget it. I think it's important that we move that money as quick as possible. It's money we can put back in the general fund to replace some of the money we're taking out of the general fund.
Thank you, Counselor Mankey. Counselor, go ahead. Counselor Pacheco.
Yes, now that we're through with the budget, I would like to actually make a proposal, because this is something Janet had brought up. She said that we have ARPA funds left, but we really need to figure out a way to make sure that the funds are encumbered by the end of the year. So I'd actually, and it kind of, I'm surprised, it goes along with what Ms. Lyons had said. I'd like to actually make a proposal of that the next meeting, we could possibly look at allocating some of the remaining ARPA funds to improving the website design and changes and enhanced communication, because I think this project would be equally as important as some of the other ARPA funds we've funded, such as a boom mower or a field groomer, or even we did a resident survey, because, and I have this all written out because I wanted to make sure I have what to say. Several years I think the biggest complaints that all of us have heard, whether we were going door to door or on Facebook or people here in meetings, is that it's not user friendly. We can't locate anything. I give up, I'm just gonna Google it, whatever. And in fact, even in the resident survey, by Blue Heron or Blue Buffalo, whatever. Blue something.
I don't think it was. blue.
It came up as one of the primary things. And it's not that we're just noticing it, because for the past at least 4 or 5, 6 years, it gets brought up every year, and every town manager, excluding the current one, says, yeah, it's an issue, and heads nod, and then nothing ever gets done. And we've got money that thankfully needs to be used, needs to be allocated. And this fits the ARPA spirit, serving those maybe who are homebound, disabled, difficult to get to the town hall, those who are maybe challenged technically and need some more guidance. And it's going to serve an enhanced web town page with more ways to communicate, easier to navigate, maybe offering more services, like, maybe we can use more services like, I don't know, doing things online. It's going to serve all the residents, every resident. So as long as the funds are available and it fits into the spirit of ARPA, and we've been hearing this continual complaint from all segments of the population, I'd actually like to maybe, Jamie, if you can work with Janet and maybe just get a figure of what, and quite frankly, I think we need like an outside eyes to look at it. Our IT department is absolutely wonderful, whatever, but I think we need somebody looking at design, content, and need is like an end user. And, maybe they can do some, work groups or workshops with some of our most vocal, residents, what they need or whatever. But I'd like to get a jump on that before all the ARPA funds are used up. And I think it's an appropriate use. So I just wondered if maybe we can discuss it more at the next meeting, if you can get some figures. If people agree? I don't know.
Agreed. Absolutely agree.
Sure.
Definitely.
Counselor Page.
Thanks, Mayor. Yeah, I was actually going to respond to Ms. Lyons' comment about the website. I've been one who's been very vocal about it. I agree with you. I think that's a great idea. I didn't realize what it would cost until I spoke with Janet specifically about that, along with everything else. Excuse me. And with our existing budget, as you pointed out, Councilor Federico, to really do the job that needs to be done, it needs to be done probably by an outside consultant. And the number, very loosely, I'm not saying Janet, I'm not quoting Janet on this, but ballpark that we've heard and discussed is 20 to 30K.
Yeah.
To do it really right, and our folks work so hard and do such a great job. So no criticism of them. It's just, it is, I know you're not either, I'm just saying, but that is kind of outdated and not as user friendly. I agree. And I think we should talk about this further.
Very good. Any other remarks? Yes. Excellent. We are going to move on then to our executive session, and Counselor Nagel, I'll have you, if you don't mind reading the resolution, you're the last one.
No, I've been listening here very astutely. Let's see.
Right on the back.
Now, if I can
Last
find-
page.
I would just for the record.
Yeah.
If I could, I would point out that Councilor Nagel is here on his birthday and and more importantly, his anniversary.
Today?
Oh, my
Today.
goodness.
So I would just point that out.
Should we sing?
Yeah, let's sing. I don't think we should sing.
To you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Councilor Nagel. Happy birthday. That's the more important.
You'll notice Tim told us not to, so of course we have to.
No, thank you all very much. Gerald and I will be home before midnight. And since you asked, which you didn't, but you could have asked, 41 years. In Newington.
God bless you both.
Holy moly.
Congratulations.
She's put up with you that long? Yeah.
On that note.
You get the last resolution tonight.
Nice going.
Let me see if I got the right thing here now. I'm ready to go to sleep. That the result that the Newington Town Council, in accordance with CGS number 1-206C, hereby moves to go into executive session and invites the town council members, the mayor, Jamie Trevitan, acting town manager, Lauren Rhymes, Director of Administrative Services, Joe Salamone, Facilities Director, and DJ Zordan, Emergency Management Director, to discuss a public safety matter, emergency operations quickly. Quickly as a
Second.
Motion by Councilor
Second.
Nagel, seconded by Councilor Floyd. Any discussion? None, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None, motion carries unanimously. We are in executive session. Good. All right, we're back from executive session. I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Mankey, seconded by Deputy Mayor Rada. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned at 10:41 PM. Have a great night, everybody.
Thank you.